You want to know what a typical day in the Air Force was in 1980 when I was a cop? Typical day. Guard mount was, let's say 6:30 in the morning for the day shift. 7 o'clock, 6:30 to 7, you get inspected, get your weapon. 7 o'clock, you're inspecting the vehicle. Then you're on patrol. And then being a cop was 99% pure boredom, 1% pure excitement. So typically your day was just driving around for 8 hours, checking buildings, make sure things are locked, secure. Maybe helping the convenience store, the grocery store take money. You just watch them take the money from the store to the bank. You're just like a armed guard escort. And that's it. 8 hours, shift's over, and do whatever you want. Thumbs up, subscribe, share the information, leave a comment. I'll continue the story. So that was a typical day as a cop in the Air Force. Of course, starting off, I think I started off as a rotating shifts, swings and mids. There'd be 3 swing shifts. And that was like, what was it? Like 3 to 11. And then you had 24 hours off. Then you did the 11 to 7 shift. And that's walking around buildings, make sure everything's locked up. The grocery store, the department store, the gym, the auto hobby shop. Of course, the ammo bunkers and the aircraft. The gates are guarded. That's what 8 hours. And of course, trying to stay awake as a young kid because you don't want to fall asleep with a gun on your hip or on your shoulder. That's probably the hardest part, make sure you stay awake. Remember once I guess one of the alarms went off at one of the ammo bunkers. So what I do, because 8 hours in ammo bunkers, nothing underground bunkers, and you're up there. I took my shirt off and I just ran around the bunkers, up and down the bunkers, all around the bunkers, push-ups, sit-ups, because you're by yourself for 8 hours all night. More. And of course, anything coming towards you, you could see them. I could see a car coming and they shut the lights off thinking they're going to sneak up on me, an exercise. So of course you just immediately call it in and they're not sneaking up on me. Of course some idiots will be sleeping, being stupid, and they're busted. But you just use common sense. You get paid to do a job, do your job. Another day because after being a cop I went civil engineering. I was a modified electrician. Typical day was totally different than being a cop. I think we had to be at work at 7:30 to 4:30. Hour for dinner. We could leave the base because you didn't have a weapon. If you were late for work, bringing a box of donuts. And it was just, you get a list of things that broke on the base. You have to go there and fix it. And that was it every day, or recurring maintenance so things didn't break. And that's what we did all day, every day. And there's a good group of guys. When a girl comes into the unit, totally changes everything. Because respect and dignity. And then in recruiting duty, that was my last 12 years. Typical day, probably a lot more longer hours. Show up at 8, 9 o'clock because you're on your own. Find 3 new recruits a month. That's how the Air Force worked. They wanted 3 new people to sign up and go in. So probably had like 10 high schools in Miami. You'd visit each and every one of them. You had a list of people to call, mail out brochures, and just get the word out. They would say kids need to see the Air Force 7 times before they even think about it. So the routine was you mail a brochure. 3 days later, you call to see if they got the brochure and see if they're interested. And the hard part is once you get them in, do they qualify? Of course, if they're overweight, you don't want to waste your time. If they can't pass a test, you don't want to waste your time. And realize in Miami, it was a bit different because my best school, 10%, would mentally qualify and they'd test everybody. So 40 out of 400. My worst school, I think it was 2%. 8 people out of 400 could pass. And of course, then if they got medical issues or weight issues, you know, they're not going to go in the Air Force. So think about this stuff. Military is the best option right now. It pays more than a college grad. And of course, it depends on you. And hopefully you do get your education. Because that's what it's all about. Put a 20-year career in. Nowadays dollars. If you're an E7, 20 years, you're making over $100,000. So if you're now in your 37, 38, and you're not making $100,000, you would have been better off joining the military. So tell your kids, tell your grandkids, you know, if they're not making that kind of money, and that's, you know, there's a lot of people making a whole lot more than that. So if you're making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, more power to you if that's all you want. If you want to do drugs or drink all day, that's up to you too. But don't blame anyone but yourself, because the key to life is hard work and education. Thumbs up, subscribe, share the information, leave a comment.